Hello and welcome back for another awesome YouTube video. Today I thought we would go through and do a whole November recap. So I'm going to just talk about everything that I read in November, what I liked, what I didn't like. If this interests you at all, grab your cup and let's get going. So I read 4 books today. Well, 4 books in November. I read these 3 and I read one on my Kindle, which I don't have the physical copy to. And I probably will not be buying them. I think we're gonna do no particular order. I think I'm gonna do this one first because it was a reread. I did read A Court of Thorns and Roses in November. It was amazing, as was all of the other times I've read it. If you've read this only once and have now finished the series, I highly recommend doing a reread because I look at it now in a completely different way than I did than the first time that I read it, and it was just amazing, amazing book. A Court of Thorns and Roses, it was my holy grail. I cannot talk about it enough. I cannot recommend it enough. This single-handedly was the series that got me back into reading. When I finished reading the series, I went onto Instagram and I looked up, and any fifth buddy that recommended if you read this book to try another book, I read that other book, and 9 times out of 10 I enjoyed that too. So I can't recommend this one enough. I gave this one the 4 stars for my reread. Part of me, I go back and forth on if I want to give it a 4 stars or 5 stars. I gave it a 4 stars, and the only reason I gave it a 4 stars is because I know how great all of the other books after this are. But the first time I read it, I gave it a 5 star, and I think that I might go back and change that because it's still a great read. I think just it's not my favorite in the series, and so I kind of want to hold off on giving it 5 stars because the other books are. uh, but I don't know. It's 4.5 stars maybe, but I mean it's a great book. I can't recommend it enough. Okay, and then I think we're gonna talk about the book that I read on my Kindle next. So the book that I read on my Kindle was Murder at the Book Club by Betsy Reevely. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but this was was a book club book that my friend picked out to read, and this was a 2 star for me. It didn't really grab me at all. I will say mystery is not generally my genre forte that I pick up. However, all of the other mystery books that my friends have chosen for this book club, I have thoroughly enjoyed. And this one, it just missed its mark for me. And I think it started out with the person that she decided to make the murder mystery about, I already didn't like. So I just already wasn't invested because I think it would have been so much better if she made me like the character and then like rip my heart out by killing her. And then I would have been so much more invested of figuring out who did it, and then it was just very plain. There wasn't much under the surface. What they were talking about was the cause of the murder since the beginning ended up being the cause, and like there just wasn't anything that really had me on the edge of my seat at all. So that is why that is a 2 star. If you're just getting into murder mystery, don't know, maybe young adult book might be interested in, I will say there is talk about affair, abortions, those type stuff, so it might have a little bit of sensitive content depending. But as far as recommendations, I don't think that this is a book that I would grab for first recommendations. Um, and I hate saying that. I never know how to do reviews on books that I didn't like because I don't want to be mean, but I also want to be honest as well. Um, so we're gonna move on to the next book, which was The Coven. This one was another reread, her third. Harper Elle Wood's third book, The Dam, just came out. I'm actually reading that right now, which that's going to be a whole book talk on its own. I rated this a 5-star. With that being said, this book is not even in the realm of genre of being high fantasy as far as like ACOTAR Throne of Glass. This, for me, this is a 5-star specifically because it is a cutesy October read. I picked this book up. It's a little over. It's like 250 pages, 280 pages. It's just a little cute book if I want to sit back and binge read a good vibe book. And that is it. There's not a lot of underlining if value. There's not a lot of high world, like there is world building, but I can't even compare it to Throne of Glass. And so when I say it's a 5-star read, I mean it just checks all of the vibes of what I was looking for in the time that I read it. However, if you're looking for, if you love Throne of Glass and you're looking for a book like that, I wouldn't recommend this. If you're looking for, and you've read, this is a book that I think I would pick up if I've read like 3 or 4 back-to-back high fantasies in-depth series, and I just want a break from all that. I want to give myself a brain break and read a nice, cute book. This is the book that I would pick up, and this is the book that I recommend. And so I did give it a 5 stars, and as well as The Cursed. I actually like The Cursed, I think, a little bit more than The Coven, just because it goes more in depth. The only complaint, and I think that's some other people's, is that I feel like Willow, the main character, does just a lot of 180 shifts, and there's not a lot of in between from that. She goes from hating this character to loving this character to hating to like just, and they're all complete 180s, and they'll happen within 1 or 2 sentences of each other, and so there's not a whole lot of in between with that, and so it does kind of give you whiplash with a lot of her feelings, and I think that's the only complaint about this book. Again, it's a cutesy read. If you're looking for high fantasy, if that's your vibe, then I don't think this one is for you. I don't think you're going to enjoy it as much. If you just want to sit back, relax, take a break from all of that, then I would pick up this book. So, in total, I read 4 books in November. That is very much my average. I average about 1 book a week, depending on the length of the book. So, obviously, depending on what I have going on that month. I don't think I'm going to even be able to read 4 books in December just because I have so many family coming over and just Christmas. So we'll see how many I can read in December. I am not a fast reader. It takes me roughly about an hour to read 20 pages, which is very, very slow. It is still, I don't know if I would say it's very slow. It's very average. It is very much not. I have one friend who read like the whole Throne of Glass series in like 2 weeks, and it took like I could not. I think I've read the Throne of Glass series in like 4 or 5 months, maybe. And so it just blows my mind of how fast some people just go through books, and that is very much not me. Especially right now in the season, I have a little 5-month-old, and finding the time to read is getting a little bit more difficult now, and I think it's just going to get even more difficult when she becomes a toddler. But I do thoroughly enjoy the time when I do find myself to read. I'm currently reading A Court of Mist and Fury and The Damned, but I think I might just put The Damned down and finish A Court of Mist and Fury and see where that goes. So, if you want to stay tuned and stay on my journey with reading all these books, then like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, you guys.